Britain's mainstream media has been deafeningly silent about Keir Starmer's attempts to stitch up MP selections. That is, until now. Michael Crick has been a political editor at both the BBC and Channel 4, and on the weekend he tweeted this. It's increasingly clear that Labour's selection processes are unfair and verge on corrupt. Some contenders get access to local membership lists long before others do, and so can start canvassing much sooner. Sometimes they have lists through being a councillor or party official. Now, what Michael Crick is talking about there has long been known by party activists. The people around Starmer will go to any length to get their candidates selected, including by blocking any left-wing contenders from even standing. So they block them off the long list or the short lists. Yet, because it is principally the left who suffer, political journalists have largely stayed quiet. It's very rare to see a tweet like this from a mainstream political journalist. And what's remarkable is that's even been the case when sitting MPs have been targeted. So far this year, the left-winger Sam Tarry has been deselected amid claims of foul play, and Ian Byrne was another left-winger who faced a tight re-selection battle. On the latter, though, there is some good news. Byrne beat his challenger in a tight contest. He got 210 votes. His opponent got 198. The win was celebrated by left-wing MPs, including Zara Sultana. So she tweeted this. He's not only one of the best MPs in Parliament and a fierce champion of the working class, but he's also an amazing friend and comrade. I'm honestly so thrilled Ian Byrne has been reselected as the Labour MP for Liverpool West Derby.
At last, someone in legacy media is talking about it. You've heard a little bit coming from Patrick Maguire at the Sunday Times as well. But if you remember what it was like between 2015 and 2019, whenever there was so much of a whisper of a reselection against a sitting MP, or if there was, divisions within a Labour council between the left and the right, which is what happened in Haringey, it was presented as no less than Operation Barbarossa. I mean, it was really all over the newspapers. It was the top story of the Today programme, and it was looked upon as though it was an act of exterminationist violence. It was totally disproportionate. And so when you contrast the visibility of the story compared to the silence of it now, I think that tells you everything that you need to know, which is that none of this was really about what are the appropriate democratic structures within the Labour Party, because in fact, the Labour Party's candidate selection is even less democratic, really, than comparable parties, certainly the Greens and the Liberal Democrats, and in many cases, less democratic than the Conservative Party. Even it was really about how do we present the left as an illegitimate force in politics, and so that means when they're making gains, you present it as this terrifying crimson wave washing over everything and drowning your children, and then when they're the victims of attempts to drum them out of the party, it's cloaked in a veil of silence. And my position on this, Michael, which is that the actual democratic thing to do would be have open selections. So you have a reselection process ahead of every election. What that does is that allows fresh talent into the party, and it's also not the case that the left would always win those reselection battles. But I think that what you end up with is a system which is like a lot more fair, a lot more open to new people. And you don't have this huge power granted to the media in terms of whether they want to notice something or not. You actually have a level of accountability and grassroots democracy, which I think is just like, self-evidently a good thing. I'm pleasantly surprised by Michael Crick picking up on this. And also, I don't think that it's a bad thing that Ian Byrne or whoever else has to go through a reselection process. I think it's a bad thing that it's only left-wing MPs like Ian Byrne who are having to go through a reselection process.